ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। नमः श्रीशङ्करानन्द गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलासमहामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। So, welcome to this group for studying the 10th chapter of Pancadasi, very well known, called Nataka Deepa Prakranam. So Atma is like Deepa. Atma is like a lamp. Example. Just as a lamp of a theatre, Nataka Deepa means a lamp of a theatre, dance theatre, drama theatre. And just as the lamp is there in the theatre, illumining everything, same way Atma illumines the entire world. So, this is a very small chapter actually, which consisting of 26 verses. And in this chapter, Vidyaranya reveals this. Atma is a very sakshi by giving that example of a Nataka Deepa, a lamp in a dance theatre. So just as lamp illumines the whole theatre without participating in the program, without undergoing any change in the program. It is not even a spectator also. Let me be a spectator, such a will also is not there. So it just illumines because illumining, it's its nature. That's it. This is a very basic thing. So illumining is a nature of that lamp. And so it illumines the whole program. Same way this Sakshi also illumines. To illumine the world, to illumine, of course generally we use Sakshi with reference to the mind, but let's take in general. So Sakshi changelessly illumines because illumination is the nature. So illumination is natural for the Sakshi. That's it. Illumination is natural for the Sakshi. To illumine is not a will-based. To illumine is just natural for the Sakshi. So illumines what? Illumines world, illumines life. The life which is in the form of basically all life is relating. Relating is responding. And in relation, three things are involved. The one who relates, the subject, the object, and the very process of relating. So, pramata, pramanam, prameyam, etc. So, basically it illumines whole life, illumines, you can say, all participants of the life. So, that way, this, and it illumines it itself, transcends all the three. Sakshi is Vilakshanam. It doesn't play any role. Not It pervades all the three, at the same time transcends all the three. It is immanent in all the three. Without that Sakshi, there is no Pramata, there is no Pramanam, there is no Prameya. You cannot even imagine the Pramata without Sakshi, consciousness, witness consciousness. You cannot infer Pramata without Sakshi. You cannot perceive anything, Prameya, etc., also without this. Therefore, you cannot, means the very existence of all the three, Pramata, Pramanam, because it is, we will be seeing also, it has been presented, it has been introduced as the very Jagat Karanam. Therefore, it is in the form of a Prameya also, it's in form of a Pramana also, it's in the form of a Pramata also, at the same time transcends all the three. Anyway, so Triputi Atitaha, Sakshi, one. And it is Triputi Prakashaka, it illumines all the three. And itself undergoes no change, it's a changeless witness. So, and this because since it transcends all the three, it transcends time and space also. So, this witness consciousness, or witness, let us say, Sakshi, since it transcends all the three, the Pramata, Pramanam, Prameya, everything, therefore it also transcends time and space. And therefore the same Sakshi is timeless consciousness. Witness consciousness is timeless consciousness. Witness consciousness is a spaceless consciousness, attributeless consciousness. Therefore this Sakshi is then equated with the Brahman. So, because it is basically, why is the Sakshi is Brahman? Because Deshakala Atita. Because if it is a Triputi, then it is within time and space. But if it is immanent in all the three, it lends existence to all the three, yet it transcends all the three, then it transcends time and space also. And in that case, that Sakshi witness consciousness is limitless consciousness, which is whole, which is Brahman. So Sakshi is beyond Triputi, beyond Deshakala, etc. So very most popular chapter of a Panchadashi. And if we understand this chapter well, whole life becomes like a natakam, drama. Because anytime you relate in this waking state, etc., well, it is simply a role playing. And so with this background, now let us understand, this chapter. The first 4 verses basically introduces this subject matter here. Let us read first verse. Paramatma dvayananda purnah purvam swamayaya swayameva jagad bhutva pravishad jiva rupatah. So he briefly mentions a srishti done by the Ishvara. So Ishvara is now here, the Paramatma is introduced as a Jagat Karana, which will be equated with the Sakshi later. So he talks about this Jiva, and he talks about the samsara, which is experienced by the Jiva. And then he talks about, a necessity of the inquiry into the nature of Jiva, etc. So this is how it has been introduced. So Paramatma creates this world, and then this miserable Jiva is trapped in that. And so Jiva experiences bondage, and then inquiry into the nature of oneself, into the nature of Jiva, leads to moksha, the freedom. So in the first shloka, this srishti, the creation, is talked about very briefly. So when Paramatma is introduced as a very maker and material, abhinna nimittopadana karanam, and based on the Mundaka Upanishad example, yathornanabihi srujate ghrannate, etc. So, and when we say this Paramatma is a upadana karanam, there are 2 types of upadana karanam, and one is the parinami, and another is a vivarta. So parinami upadana karanam, which produces the karyam, creates with undergoing change. Swaswarupa parityagena rupantara apattihi parinamaha. There is an example also, several examples are there. The seed produces a tree. It destroys itself, right? In producing a fact called tree, it destroys itself. So, swaswarupa parityagena rupantarapatti. Well, that is called parinama. So, seed is a upadana karanam of a tree, but it is parinami upadana karanam. And then there are several examples you know also. So, milk produces a curd, etc. And if Paramatma is a Parinami Upadana Karanam, that Paramatma undergoes change and destroys itself to produce Jagat, like a seed. So, and then he will be, Paramatma will be the first member, for obituary column after Jagat arrives, because as the Jagat arrives, he dies. So, the seed gets destroyed, he also gets destroyed. Well, that is not there. And therefore, there is another Upadana Karanam called Vivarta Upadana Karanam. That is the definition is also very simple. Swaswarupa Parityagena, while we defining Parinama. So here Swaswarupa Aparityagena. Rupantara Apattihi Vivartaha. So, and there are also many examples are there. But let's take one example of where Bhashyakara loves this, Rajju Sarpa. So basically rope does not destroy itself while creating a sarpa out of it. Or the waker does not destroy himself even in creating a dream world out of him. So if waker does not destroy, and so if waker gets destroyed in creating a dream world, then there is no question of waking up again. So anyway, so this is how examples are. Now, some of the examples we feel they are grey kind of a thing. And that example is a clay into a pot, or a gold into an ornaments, etc., or wood into a furniture. Now, what kind of a upadana karanam should we take? In fact, we teachers here, traditional teachers also take liberty. And sometimes we show it as a, Vivarta Upadana Karanam. And sometimes we show it as a Parinami Upadana Karanam. So that, but Bhashyakara doesn't take that way. Bhashyakara takes all these examples, wood into furniture, gold into ornaments, etc., or the clay into pot, etc., pot pans, etc., as a Parinami Upadana Karanam. Generally, he is example for this creation from Brahman, and Brahman is shown as a Vivarta Upadana Karanam. His example is Rajju Sarpa, generally. But anyway, Chandogya definitely introduces, Mrit and the Vikaras, etc., or Mithya, etc. And that example has been taken like that. But anyway, so we have to let us clarify what it is actually. So one thing is there. If you focus on the nature of an ornament, well, goldness, etc., is not destroyed. And so, it was a gold before, and right now also it is gold. Otherwise, nobody, wants ornaments. If creating ornaments, if gold itself goes away. Therefore, we can take it from the nature standpoint, the nature of the effect, from the effect's nature. From that standpoint, you can take it as a Vivartopadana Karanam. But if you focus on gold, well, basically on shape of the gold, let us say, shape of the gold, then it undergoes change naturally. The gold was in the form of a biscuit, and now it is in the form of a ring or whatever. So, if you focus on the nature of a fact, you find it is Vivarta. Or if you focus on the very shape of the this Karanam, you find it has undergone a change. And so naturally goldsmith has intervention is there, and so we can take it from that standpoint. It is a Parinami Upadana Karanam. But generally in the Shastra, gold to ornaments, etc., or wood to furniture, etc., valleys, or from clay to pots, pans, etc., earthen world, is taken as a Parinami Upadana Karanam. Bhashyakara mentions like this. So in Chandogya Upanishad, the 6th chapter also, you will find these 3 examples are given for Parinami Upadana Karanam. Anyway, So let us take now Paramatma as Vivartopadana Karanam. Naturally, Paramatma is not destroyed, creating the world. That's how we want to know ourselves as a Paramatma right now. And therefore, Paramatma is right. It is very much there here, even after this creation. And therefore, it is Vivartopadana Karanam. So the whole world, this effect, if you look into, inquire into its nature, either you inquire into the nature of a jiva or a jagat, you definitely find it is Brahman alone. And so this is a Vivartopadana Karanam. So for Paramatma to become a Vivartopadana Karanam, it should have a capacity to create, this universe. And so, that capacity is called Maya. This is just one Brahman, one without second, right? We know it's one whole. So there is no question of a creation. Well, that's fine. But now if you want to account for these various names and forms which are manifest right now, various attributes, time, space, everything. So, then to account for that, ultimately we say, the Paramatma, the Brahman has this capacity to manifest into this Jagat, to create this world, and that capacity is called Maya. Or you can say even unmanifest also. Same thing. Paramatma with a certain unmanifest, non-separate from him, he alone manifest in the form of this Jagat, which is, that's how Paramatma becomes a Karana. So it is there with Paramatma all along. And so then, but how it has come, how it is there in Brahman, this is mithya actually. It is one without second. When we say there is nothing called Maya, in fact, even anything which is mithya cannot be counted also. But if you want from the standpoint of the creation, etc., we say there is some creative power, which is mithya, which is not there you cannot say, which is there you cannot say. And therefore, if it is really there, what is the relationship with the Brahman, etc.? That's the issue. And so, it is definitely, and if it is not there, you cannot say, then how will you account for these names and forms, etc., which has certain objective reality. So, the Sadbhyam, we say Anirvachaniyam, this is, so from where it has come and when it came, and don't ask this question, it's there, Anadi. So Brahman with this Maya, is Vivartopadana Karanam of universe. The nature of Maya is Mithya, non-separate from Brahman, and therefore this manifest world also is Mithya, and non-separate from Brahman. So Brahman alone, you can say Brahman alone with unmanifest, manifest in the form of this Jagat. Ishvara alone manifest in the form of Jagat. So that is said in this first verse. So, Paramatma Advayananda Purnaha Purvam Swamayaya Swayameva Jagat Bhutva Pravisha Jivarupataha. So, if Maya exists along with the Brahman, then Brahman is Advaitam or Sadvaitam, that question. So, I just remembered, so let us discuss that. So, Brahman is Sagunam or Nirgunam, because Maya has certain attributes. So, if Maya is a part of Brahman, Brahman will become Savayam, etc. So, how will you account for this Maya, etc.? Well, we don't account for the Maya. It's unaccounted account, we have to say. Unaccounted account. Yeah. And therefore, people have unaccounted account. So, this is like that. So, Maya itself, the word indicates that we need not have to account for the Maya by being its nature. Mithya. Lower order of reality, you can say, non-separate from Brahman, like shadow of the person, reflection of a person, etc. So it is not a second thing. If it's not a second thing, therefore there is no question of a Dvaitam, etc. It's not even part of Brahman, because it's not real. Part of Brahman, part and whole, both are real, equally real. Well, that is also not the case. Therefore, Maya is Sagunam, yet Brahman is Nirgunam, we can definitely say. It is not a part. It is simply a adhyastam, if you want to say. Adhyasa is non-separate, etc. And therefore, any adhyasa is not a part. So, snake is not a part of the rope, etc. Snake is not an attribute of the rope, etc. Simply is adhyasa. So with this inexplicable Maya, means you cannot categorize this Maya. There is no Maya at all. Okay, then what about these names and forms, etc.? Well, if you say everything is just one without second, one Brahman alone without second, it's whole, well, Maya has gone. No, but if you say, well, there is this creation, etc., names and forms, manifest names and forms. Okay, so we will say, well, there is something unmanifest, Maya, etc. So, okay, so that this is how, along with this Maya, Brahman becomes Vivartopadana Karanam for this Jagat. What is the nature of this Brahman? That is described here very beautifully. So many Upanishadic statements have been, brought into an essence by Vidyaranya. First is Paramatma, infinite. Well, Atma, which is limitless, we can call Paramatma. Advayananda, which is non-dual, one without second. And Ananda, Ananda Swarupaha. It's not an Ananda Swarupaha, means it is fullness. It is not an experiential Ananda. Experiential Ananda, well, once you say experience, then experience through the mind, therefore there is a vritti, and therefore the same Atma, which is reflected in the vritti, well, in the Shanta vritti, etc., well, it's so Ananda manifest. So we can call Pratibimba Ananda. And that varies depending on the vritti. Vritti is a upadhi, and therefore the Ananda which manifests there varies depending upon the medium, naturally. And so there are certain obstacles, etc. Well, then definitely the Ananda also varies, called Priya, Moda, Pramoda, etc. Anyway, so all these experiential pleasures have definitely a gradation, fluctuation, because through upadhi, through vritti. So therefore no experience can remain same. Every experience comes and goes. Well, during its presence also it fluctuates. So that is how Ananda Maya Kosha, there it is Ananda Vikara only, and that has been presented as a Priya, Moda, Pramoda, etc. So that is all Pratibimbananda, reflected in the vritti. This Bimbananda, the Atma which is a Bimba, which is of the nature of fullness, has its nirvikara, has no fluctuation and graduation, etc. So Ananda Swarupa. That Ananda which is in the form of a Priya, Moda, Pramoda comes and goes, right? Because as the vritti goes, the reflection also, reflected Ananda also, Pratibimba Ananda also goes. Anyway, that is how in a Taittiriya Upanishad that Mimamsa, Ananda Mimamsa, there they have shown the gradation. And it is equated, every time it is equated with the our vice person, Shrotriya, who has done this Adhyanam of the Upanishad, understood the purport, gained the vision, etc. And Shrotriya such akamahatasya, etc., etc. Shrotriya means this person who has studied this Upanishads, gained its vision, etc. in the form of knowing that I am Brahman. The vision is this, the identity between you and your goal. That's it. Brahman is a goal. Whether you accept it or not, that's a different thing. Just because one doesn't accept it doesn't mean that the reality goes away. One cannot negate reality. You can negate for yourself, but you cannot, if you negate, the reality would go away. It's no more a reality. So, well, basically, what you want in your life is this Ananda, the fullness. Everyone wants a fulfillment in life, fullness in life. And that fullness is called Brahman in Shastra. So whether you know word Brahman or not, it doesn't make any difference. The human life is given to you ultimately for sake of fulfillment in life. That's it. You are seeking fullness, and you want to stop seeking. But you cannot stop seeking unless you gain fullness. That we should know this. No one is a seeker in order to remain a permanently seeker. Everyone is seeking ultimately for a cessation of seeking. And therefore, we should know this very well. And therefore, this Brahman, which is in the form of the self, there is identity, there is a vision that the person has gained. And therefore, it is, he knows himself that he is fullness. Anywhere any Ananda manifests through anybody's mind or through vrittis, ultimately, It's ultimately I am only is reflected in that. And therefore it could be a Manushananda, it could be a Manusya Gandharvananda, it could be a Deva Gandharvananda, it could be a Devananda, or it could be a Brihaspati Ananda, or it could be a Brahmaji's Indra's Ananda, or it could be a Brihaspati's Ananda, or it could be a Brahmaji's Ananda. The Ananda which manifests through the upadhis are exalted, etc. And therefore there is always a taratamyam, gradation. So very beautiful. Manushananda has been shown, right? Very so beautifully. So what is that? Yuva sat sadhu yuva dhyayakaha ashishto dhridishto balishtaha. And then saiko manusha ananda. So this is, the science generally measures all the things. This somehow it came today in the morning class. Morning also there was a Pancadasi class, 12th chapter. I just mentioned that. So in a science, everything is measured. And whatever is not available for measurement, they generally, in those days, in 17th century, they were not accepting. Whatever is not available for any measurement, well then that thing scientists had a hesitation to accept. Even today, the scientist, who accepts this allopathy medicine, etc., our field of medicine, they don't accept this our Ayurveda, except because they say, well, you cannot find the measurement here. How many people got this particular medicine, and how many people got cured out of it? Well, do you have any data, etc.? We say we don't have any data. Then we say we can't accept. But such a science where everything is measured, and to measure they have a particular unit also. Like to measure time, you have a unit called a second, hour, etc. Or to measure every other thing in this world, they have found a certain unit, and you can measure through the unit. In such a science field, there is no measurement of this happiness. Yeah. Well, Swamiji, then they will say, well, then there is no happiness at all. They cannot deny. They themselves get happy. They have an experience of happiness. And all other people have an experience of happiness. Science is something which has to take into account experiences. And taking into account experience, they have to analyze it and should explain those experiences. Like a sunrise and these and that. So, how will now science knows that this is everyone's experience of happiness, joy, yet they don't have any measurement for that, really, because this is something which is not in purview of the science. Frankly speaking, the Ananda has something to do with the subject. Yeah. So anyway, they may explain in terms of certain hormones, etc., secretion of certain hormones, serotonin, this, that. They may say, fine, and we should accept it. But ultimately, the source of Ananda is the self. The fullness is of the nature of self. So anyway, so this is what I am saying is, well, so this Bimbananda. Anyway, so I is always Ananda, unbroken Ananda, because this is my nature. Unbroken means of the nature of fullness, doesn't undergo any change. Not happy right now and then sad later, etc. No. So wherever this Priya, Moda, Pramoda vrittis are there, it is a Pratibimbananda, and therefore Upadhi is involved, mind is involved, some vritti is involved. And so, anyway, and this is one without second, it's a whole. The experience of wholeness alone is called a experience of happiness, fullness. Anyway, so this Paramatma, Advaya, Ananda Purnaha, whole. Well, now he's showing a Jagat Karanam. Purvam, well, Srushtihe Prak, before the beginning of this creation. So Maya, the Maya, which is this unmanifest or creative power, which is non-separate from him, which is not available for any kind of a categorization. Well, such a Mithya Maya. With Somaya, well, Swayameva Jagat Bhutva. So he converted itself into this world, just as Baker converts himself into the dream world, sentient, insentient, everything. Swayameva. This Swayameva, he himself shows very clearly Upadana Karana. So, and Upadana Karana of what? Vivarta Upadana. We know now. Swayameva Bhutva means seemingly converting, because Maya itself is Mithya. Through Maya he manifests as the Jagat. If Maya is Mithya, well, the nature also of the Jagat is, well, Mithya, seeming, apparent. Swayameva Bhutva. And and then what? Pravishat Jiva Rupataha. So Vidyaranya says, well, Maya doesn't have a existence of its own by Swa Maya. So Swa, the Maya which is his own, means which is non-separate from himself. So having, well, Jagat Bhutva, Jagat. So, Upanishad describes like that, having created all these 14 lokas, etc., having created all Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, etc., well, Paramatma entered, well, into Sukshma Sharira, etc., entered as Abhasa. Entry into Karana Sharira, we should not say. If you want to say, you can say, but Karana Sharira is Anadi, and that is also non-separate from the Paramatma, and therefore, it is there in the form of a abhasa, as a avyakta. So, well, Jiva is Anadi when we say, means the association of this Mithya Karana Sharira with the Brahman is Anadi. Brahman is Anadi, Karana Sharira Anadi. And therefore, the Chidabhasa also is Anadi. You can say Jiva is Anadi, it is in the form of a avyakta. And well, and through that Karana Sharira, well, there are all karmas, etc. are there. According to one's own karma, Sukshma Sharira, etc. are created, then, well, we can say, well, this Jiva has entered into Sukshma Sharira. It's already there in the Karana Sharira, through Karana, well, of course, through as a Sukshma Sharira also entering. And so, these reflections is non-dual or a dual. Chit is non-dual, you are right, but then Chidabhasa, what about this Chidabhasa? Well, reflections are infinite, depending upon mediums are infinite. You can say Sukshma Shariras are infinite, well, then the Chidabhasa also are infinite. Jivas are many, you can say, but it is Chidabhasa. So, because infinite Chidabhasas are there, every Chidabhasa is called, you can say, Jiva. So, Jiva Rupataha Pravishat. It's a here, Trutiyarthe Tasi, Pratyaya is there. Jiva Rupataha means Jiva Rupene. And the Chandogya Vakya also is there, you may be remembering. Anena Jivena Atmana Namarupe, Anena Jivena Atmana Namarupe Vyakaravani, etc. Anena Jivena Atmana Nama. Okay. But so Jivena Atmana. So there it is also this Ithambhute, Jiva Rupena, in the form of a Jiva. Paramatma entered into this Sukshma Sharira as Jiva. Now what is this entry? We will be just discussing a little bit. So, well, how did Vidyaranya got this idea? Well, so you know, first thing is the Chandogya Vakya, of course, is there. So many you can see even in our book, Ramakrishna book, several our quotations are there. From Vidyaranya has made this verse, referring into many Upanishad Vakyas. So, Sadeva Some Idamagra Asit Ekameva Dvitiyam. So, indicating very well this Sat, the Brahman, well, which alone, one which was without second, non-dual, well, alone has manifested in the form of this Jagat. This Idam, the Idam means this Jagat was Brahman before. That's fine. So, Idam, this Jagat, which is in the form of manifest names and forms, was unmanifest before. So, unmanifest Brahman becomes manifest Brahman, that is Jagat. Unmanifest Brahman Ishvara means Brahman with this unmanifest. Unmanifest Brahman means what? Sorry. Brahman with this unmanifest became Brahman with manifest, because Brahman is Vivarta. Anyway, then Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also says Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. So Anandam word also Vidyaranya has used. And Purnam, etc. So Purnamadav Purnavidam, that is also in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, also it is there. Then in Shvetashvetar Upanishad also it said Mayam Prakritim Vidyat, etc. So here it says Swamayaya. So then why do you say Paramatma became this universe? Well, generally people say Paramatma created this universe. So why do you say this Paramatma became universe? Well, so kamayata bahusyam prajaye, etc., etc. Satapotapyata satapastaptva idagum sarvam asrujata yadidam kincha tat srishtva tadevanupravishat सच्चत्यच्चा भवत निरुक्तंचा निरुक्तंचा विज्ञानंचा विज्ञानंचा निलयंचा निलयंचा everything he became. And also then asadvaidamagra asit, I will explain you that. Asadvaidamagra asit tadatmanam swayam akuruta, very beautifully, very clear that he is the maker, he is the material alone. Anyway, so this pravesha, anupravesha, so basically, this is the section, this Pravesha Akshatra, Jiva Rupe, Pravishat Jiva Rupatah, that refers to the Taitiriya, Upanishad, Brahmanand Vali, etc. Where, in the Valli, it begins with Brahmavid Apnoti Param, and means one who knows Brahman gains limitless, or gains a Paramapurushartha, gains the highest goal of the life, and that is fullness. And what is that Brahman? So, well, then Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So, Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And what is this Brahma Jnanam? Because Brahmavit Apnoti Param. One who knows Brahman gains limitlessness. So, what is this knowledge of Brahman, etc.? And that has been said, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman, etc. So, one who knows this Brahman, which is one who recognizes Brahman, available in this Buddhi Guha, available in this intellect. It has manifested there. Having created everything, he manifests in the buddhi. That is pravesha. Anyway, so this is. Let us go into little further in this. Okay, so that has been said. And what is this paramapnoti? Because Brahmavid apnoti taram alone, that sentence alone has been little expanded in terms of meaning. So what is Brahman? Over Brahmavit. Knower of Brahman means how to know this Brahman. Yuveda Nitam Guhayam Paramevyaman. And then Paramapnoti, gains limitless. That also has been said. So Oshnute Sarvan Kaman Samashnute. He basically Brahmanasaha. He gains all this Kaman, all the objects of enjoyment simultaneously. How? Brahma Rupena. Brahmanasaha means in the form of Brahman. In the form of Brahman. Because everything is manifestation of Brahman. Everything is manifestation of the Ananda only. Whole. And that whole, I am the whole, I am the fullness. And therefore all the objects are nothing but my own manifestation, basically. Mithya manifestation, apparent manifestation. Anyway, and therefore he gains in Purushartha. Parama Purushartha. That has been said. Further explained then. Brahman has been introduced as a Jagat Karana. Tasmadva etasmad atmanaha akasha sambhutaha. Akashad vayuhu, vayoho agnihi, agnehe apaha, adbhya prithvi, prithvyam oshadayaha, oshadibhya annam, annat purushaha, savayesha purushaha, annarasamayaha. Brahman is in the form of basically this in Brahman which is Atma. Tasmad va etasmat, Atmanaha. Brahman which is in the form of Atma, from that Brahmatma, Akasha is created through Maya. It has been, we have to understand. Brahman is Brahman only, But now with this Mithya power, Mithya capacity, creative capacity, etc., this Akasha has been created, or what was there as unmanifest now started manifesting. So Akasha, Vayu, and there also is subtle and gross. You have to take both. Upanishad doesn't mention the subtle creation and then there is a Panchikaranam, etc. No, you have to take it both. Time has not been mentioned, but you have to take it. As the space also is created, you should understand time also. The space-time axis is there, always together. And therefore, anyway, so this is how the creation. And so it came to here. Savayesha Purushaha Annarasamayaha. And then, so this Annarasamayaha, basically Maya might also Vikara only. This body which is generally we call Annamaya Kosha. But Annamaya Kosha means there is the Annam, the food is not available here. What is available is Sapta Dhatus, right? Blood and this, other things. And all these are nothing but a Vikara, modification of the food. So this body which is a modification of the food. That is Brahman, because all the elements created from Brahman, every stage it is Brahman only, Upadana Karanam. Brahman, remaining Brahman appears, right? Vivarta. And therefore, this Brahmatma alone is in the form of this body. So, therefore, this body is Brahman. So, if we are searching Brahman somewhere else, don't search and come here now. And so here, and then well, okay. So this body is Brahman, body is Atma, Brahmatma, and Brahmatma is body. No. Don't do haste. Anyantaratma pranamaya. Anyantaratma pranamaya. So don't take this as Atma. Means don't take this is Atma, but Atma is not the body. Now the equation changes. Yeah. Because ultimately Upanishad wants you to recognize Brahman where actually it is opting as it is. Yoveda nihitam guhayam. Therefore, Upanishad uses a sthula arundhati nyaya. It is taking you slowly. This sthula arundhati nyaya is a very beautiful nyaya. Generally, the people, the bridegroom and groom, both, ultimately bride, I'm sorry, and they are when they are wedded, they will be shown this Arundhati star, because Arundhati and Vasishtha are inseparable. So means here also, after marriage, you will remain inseparable. Never there would be a chance where you will have you have to separate, divorce, etc. So for that purpose, so they show a Arundhati. And now Arundhati is a very small, and right besides that Vasishtha. It's a part of that what is that they call? The Great Bear or something, they call like that. Saptarshi, we say Saptarshi. That 7 star. So that 7 star itself, you can find out that, but still, for that they will show you that pole star, which is very bright. So near the pole star, there is a 7 star, and in that 7 star, that there is a square, right? There is a square that is on the top of that square, on the right side of that. Well, there is a 1 star which is called Vasishtha, because it is Saptarshi. One of that is Vasishtha. And just near Vasishtha, very, very faint star, very, very close, which is Arundhati. So, actually, we said they are inseparable. Now science says that there they appear two, but actually it is a 1 star, they say. What we have said before. But anyway, this is not that I'm not saying we are having a better science. Science has its own place. It is exalted. There is no question. But I'm saying certain things just, it happens that way. That what we said now, they are also saying. So we should not derive something that Veda is a bigger science, etc. That's a wrong thinking. Anyway, so this is how they show slowly through pole star, and then, in that the tail of the bear, and then etc. etc. Same way here. Yeah. So basically, this has been shown here like this. So, yeah, just. So this Annamaya is Brahman. Fine, very good. Because everything is Brahman ultimately. Brahman is Jagat Karanam, Vivarta. So this Annamaya is Brahman. No. Anyantaratma Pranamaya. Well, Prana is Brahman, which sustains the body. So Prana is Brahman. Then, well, Prana is Brahman. So Brahman is Prana. Brahman is life. No. Brahman is much bigger than life. Anyway, so basically then said Anyantaratma Manomaya. The mind is Brahman. That is true. But Brahman is not. Brahmatma is not mind. Let me use Brahmatma because already it has been introduced like this. Tasmadva etasmad atmanah. So, this Brahmatma is not mind. Anyantaratma Vijnanamaya. So, where the Vijnanamaya comes, then, well, now, that is where Buddhi, that is where Atma is to be known. How can you say now in Vijnanamaya has come and we have stopped? Yoveda Nihitam Guhaya. One who knows this Brahman in Guha, Buddhi Guha. Well, and it is called Guha because it is nothing but darkness. Yeah, Guha means a cave. It's nothing but darkness. One is born ignorant, full darkness. Doesn't know anything about the world, doesn't know anything about oneself. Full darkness. Anyway. And therefore, so Brahman is, which is, the Atma or Brahman, well, which is to be known, is now in this cave of the Buddhi, Vijnanamaya. It's already there. Yeah. Upanishad also said the same thing. Pratibodha viditam matam. So basically, Atma is known in each and every thought, each and every cognition. Every thought is cognition only. So basically, that it is due to Brahman. Every thought is soaked totally in Brahman. Yeah, it's all pervading. Every thought is Brahman. The thought is illumined by Brahman. The very existence of thought is Brahman. Thought is that isness is Brahman. Thought shines, that shining is Brahman. That's it. What is not Brahman? Sarvasya Karanam. So very body is Brahman, the prana is Brahman, the mind is Brahman, the buddhi is Brahman, and the very thought in the buddhi is Brahman. The illumination of thought is Brahman, due to Brahman. We are going to know as a Sakshi later. Anyway, so Pratibodha Viditam Matam, Atma is known in each and every thought. So you recognize, in fact, you recognize the entire world which is an effect. You recognize that world which is effect of Brahman. Where? In the Buddhi. So that is where you know even the cause of that world. Where you recognize the effect, there itself you recognize the cause. That's it. And therefore a whole world you recognize here in the Buddhi. Therefore the cause of that entire world, well, ultimately is also recognized in the Buddhi. Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. Anyway, so Brahman also is recognized there. There is no other way of knowing this Brahmatma except in the Buddhi. Because that is where it's Upalabdhi. It is Upalabdhi, it is right there. That is called Pravesha actually. It is there. But it is not there, some Jiva Rupena, Vidyaranya says. Correct? Very true. So there is no other way of anyway. I will be talking to that. So, in fact, even Anandamaya is also well understood in the Buddhi only. Vijnanamaya, then Anandamaya. So, even Anandamaya also is understood in Vijnanamaya, in the Buddhi only. So, as a Drashta, as a Shrota, as a Manta, as a thinker, as a hearer, as a seer, as a knower, as an experiencer, well, Atma is available in the Buddhi. So, it is in the form of a Buddhi. It is in the form of this. And it doesn't appear, disappear, etc. All these Buddhi vrittis appear. Even the very seer appears and disappears. Now it becomes hearer. Hearer appears and disappears. Hearer with respect to something which is heard. So all these appear and disappear. But Brahmatma, well, has this already entered this it obtains in this Buddhi, and it doesn't disappear. It does not appear, does not disappear. It is right there. That is called entry. So Brahmatma's entry into the Buddhi in the form of very jiva, in the form of very ahankara, ego, in the form of this drashta, shrota, manta, ganta, etc. Swamiji, what about this other thing? You said Triputi. Already I said you it is sarvasya karanam. Everything. So, well, basically what you see, object outside, is also Brahman. And the image of the object you gain in the mind also is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So seer, seeing, everything, the knower, known, knowledge, entire Triputi is Brahman. From the standpoint of, with reference to Brahman, there is no inside outside, please understand. With reference to mind, there is inside outside. Yeah, people think that way. So, well, Swamiji, you said if the consciousness is the truth of everything, the entire creation is within consciousness, etc. Then you should be conscious of everything. You should know everything. No. This known unknown will be with reference to mind. Yeah. Your mind, basically converts the status of the world from unknown to the known. That's it. We have studied this in 7th chapter, I think, in Pancadasi, where Vidyaranya said very beautifully. So, what is unknown becomes known once it becomes an object of the vritti, and the consciousness definitely illumines it. Well, it becomes known. Anyway, so Brahman is available in this Vijnanamaya, the buddhi, Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam, as the very seer, experiencer, etc., doer. And even this Anandamaya, as I told you, is with varying degrees of Ananda, etc. Anandamaya means Priya, Moda, Pramoda also. Well, that is also is known in buddhi only, buddhi vritti. So there is basically all this changing anandas, etc. Has a support in what? The Anandamaya, which is in the form of this changing vrittis, Ananda vrittis, Priya, Moda, Pramoda, has a basis in what? Well, has a basis in Brahman alone, Brahmatma alone. How do you say? Brahmapucham Pratishtha. Brahmapucham Pratishtha. It has a basis in Brahman, Brahmatma only, and means Brahman or Brahmatma, which is a Ananda, alone manifest in the various buddhi vrittis, depending upon the obstacle that Ananda varies. Yeah. And the original inhibiting factor is, of course, ignorance. Well, thinking that Ananda comes from an object or a situation, internal, external, etc. That's an obstacle. Otherwise, same Ananda manifest in the buddhi vritti. Buddhi vritti is upadhi. So, depending upon the buddhi vritti, well, definitely a buddhi vritti has some sattva, Ananda manifest. This is something very, 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 we should note it. So this is how the people ask the question, and it is very genuine also. That Swamiji, it is Atma alone is Satchidananda, and consciousness, you said, well, it is no buddhi vritti is away from consciousness, then no buddhi vritti is away from Ananda also. But all our buddhi vrittis have a cognition without consciousness varies. In fact, cognition is nothing but a qualified consciousness. Nothing but a qualified consciousness, qualified by name and form. Nothing else. Anyway, so consciousness is all along there. And the consciousness is fullness, wholeness, but in all buddhi vrittis it doesn't manifest. That's how people search for Ananda, wholeness outside. Yeah. So you say, I am a conscious being, you don't have any doubt. But I am Ananda, you have a doubt. Yeah. Because you are conscious being, that's so clear. You are very clear. You did not have to ask to anybody, you don't ask also. And if you go with this idea that I am not a conscious being, well, someone says it requires a consciousness to tell that I am not a conscious being. Anyway, but I am Ananda, that is. So a specific buddhi vrittis are required, and that buddhi vritti also, as the inhibiting factor becomes less, it moves, the Ananda moves as the gradation from Priya to Moda to Pramoda. And when no inhibiting factor totally gone, Ananda reaches its culmination, and that inhibiting factor will be the very vritti itself resolves. The resolution of increasing the Ananda well ultimately takes place in the Swarupananda, which is not an experiential Ananda. That is what is mentioned by Vidyaranya here as Ananda. Ananda Purna. Purna means so wholeness, etc. Anyway, Swamiji, all this you said, where it is explained. Frankly speaking, I am seeing that bhashyam of that statement. So kamayata bahusyam prajaye tat sruštva tadeva anupravishata, etc. So, in that, what Bhashyakara has mentioned and explained the entry, very beautiful Bhashya. You should see there. Bhashyakara has removed all the possibilities one by one and he takes you to the corner and will ultimately say, as though, reveals the helplessness. See now, how will you take this sentence? Pravesha. How this Brahman entered? Because Brahman is in the form of this Jagat. And therefore, Karana already enters into the Karya. Otherwise, where is Karya? So, when you say clay enters into a pot, what is this? The very creation of pot is impossible without clay. So, clay has already entered into the pot. Then, if you say, well, pot is already there, and you say, now clay has entered, what is this? So, everything is Brahman. Then you say, well, Brahman has entered into, this Upadhi. How? Already this Upadhi is Brahman. Therefore, where is the entry, etc.? So, that anupravishata, that is a re-entry kind of a thing. Well, means here it is to show that ultimately you should know Jagat Karanam Brahma. Where will you know? So, Bhashyakara says, where you recognize the entire Jagat, there in the Buddhi, there itself you recognize the very cause of the Jagat. Padan Karanam, the cause of the Jagat, Brahman, is right there. Doesn't go, doesn't appear, doesn't disappear. It's right there as the very Sakshi of entire, all the thoughts, etc. So, very mind is Brahman, Buddhi is Brahman, that is fine, Brahmatma alone. But it is obtained as a very consciousness, witness consciousness in the Buddhi. So, pratibodha viditam matam, etc. Bodham prati yat viditam. Very beautifully it is said. Anyway, so this is why I went into this. You may feel that Swamiji had, but this pravesha, so, and in a form of a jiva means in form of this drashta, shrota, manta, etc. But well, when this is that ahankara exposes itself into the pramana, shastra, etc. Shastra tells you, the ahankara, the knower, is really not knower. You are basically knowledge, the consciousness. And in light of that, well, ahankara becomes mithya. Well, the snake is rope. When you say, definitely, this is the equation. This equation between snake and rope, Bhada Samanadhikaran, you can take. Well, so, ahankara is Brahman. Tvam tatasi. You can take it Bhada Samanadhikaran. People take it as Aikya Samanadhikaran, whatever way. But the very knower who is operating a means of knowledge called Shastra exposes himself to the teaching, then Shastra tells you, you are Brahman. Means you yourself who takes it as a knower and operating the means of knowledge, well, better understand your reality is consciousness, which is Sakshi and which is equated with ultimately Brahman, spaceless, timeless, attributeless Brahman. So this is how it is to be understood. Anyway, so this is regarding first verse. Swayameva Jagat Bhutva. Yeah, by the way, Asadva idamagra asit ek and then say tadatmanaga swayama kuruta, etc., etc. Asadva idamagra asit. Idam, this Jagat was Asat. This Jagat, which is nothing but a manifest Brahman, well, by manifest Brahman, you should say Maya, are non-separate. So this is, anyway, so this Jagat, which is a manifest Brahman, was Asat, was unmanifest Brahman before. And Tadatmanagga Swayamakuruta, it has created itself. It has manifested itself by itself. Very beautifully said, very clear, maker and material, one alone. So anyway, so from many Upanishads, it seems Vidyaranya has composed this first verse. This is what Vidyaranya is. Anyway, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।